Welcome, everybody. Monday, November the 2nd. Already November the 2nd. 51 more days till Christmas, in case you need to be reminded of that. How's everybody doing today? We have a special guest with us today, and we have Justin, the flippin' accountant. How are you, Justin?
Every day is a holiday. How are you today?
Good. I wish every day was a holiday. That would be very awesome. That would be awesome. So, where are you located?
I'm in Alabama.
How's the weather there today?
It's getting chilly. It's getting a little frosty out there. Not super excited about it.
What do you consider chilly?
Oh goodness, I think it was like 40 or 50 today. Not
chilly. Okay.
Yeah, well, it's just chilly for us because normally it's pretty warm down here.
I'm in Central Florida, and we've been racked with the 90s and 100s and stuff. And today was down to 65.
Oh, that's a tough life.
Yeah, I went to get coffee this morning. It was so nice. It's supposed to get down to 50s tonight, but yeah, I guess it's funny when I first moved down here. You'd get down to the 50s and 60s, and people would be waiting for the bus with ski parkas on, like they were going skiing. It's like, damn, really? But yeah. So you're in Alabama. Did you participate in the longest yard sale?
I did. The 127 sale.
Yep.
I did it the absolute wrong way. I started on the last day, like mid-afternoon, and I started at the very tail end of it. And then I just kind of went up north up until it got dark, and then I turned around and came back home. But I still managed to find some good stuff. I still had fun out there.
When did you go?
I went
this year?
Yeah, I went this year. It was on a Sunday is when I went. And I just hit a bunch of garage sales, kind of traveling up north, and I did find some cool stuff. And it was good timing for me because people were getting ready to close up.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, we just want to get rid of this, and I was like, all right, I'll buy these DVDs and these super soakers, and I found some cool stuff. But I should have definitely I should have went earlier. I should have went Friday, Saturday, Sunday because I know I missed a lot of good stuff out there.
Nice. Yeah, I think we went 15 years ago because it was one of those bucket list things. And I said, let's go. The beginning of it is, I think it was 5 hours from here.
Okay.
And we went all the way to Kentucky. And it was interesting driving through the mountains, and you look down because you're like, wow, I can't imagine driving this at night.
Right.
But it was interesting. A lot of glass, a lot of old Coke signs,
Mm-hmm.
But would I ever do it again? I don't know, because it's like every time I turned the station on the radio, there was another preacher preaching, and I'm not a country music fan, and that's all there was on the radio.
Yeah.
But let's say hello to a couple of people. We have Rhonda. Hello, Rhonda. Nady Pie's Trinkets and Doodads. How are you, Nady Pie? Hopefully you're off your conference call from this morning by now. Mark. Hello, Mark. What's happening? Rhonda's dropping links. Thank you, Rhonda. Grand M Sales. It was 20 here. I'm in New York. Very nice. So you must have got the snow. Everybody's talking about getting a little snow.
I'm not ready for it, but we don't get it too often here in Alabama. But when we do, everything shuts down because they just can't handle it, and most people can't drive in it either. So
yeah, I went home to Massachusetts, New Hampshire last year. It was the first time I shoveled snow in 15 years. I love snow during the Christmas holidays, though, because it brings the mood up, I think.
Yeah. Pretty much all of my family's in Michigan, and I'll go to visit them for the holidays generally. And that's when I'll get to enjoy the snow, and my dog looks at it like he's never seen it before, and he loves it. And we do the holidays with the family, and then we come back. So
that's nice.
Yeah.
Hello, Hemlock Lady Mercantile. How are you? And Found for You Today. Interesting name. Do you Found for You Today? Are you one of those people that source for other people to resell? Because we had a couple of people when I first started selling in August. There was 2 people in the chats for the auctions that say, "Oh no, I source for other resellers that just can't get out and do things." So I say that's a great idea, good business model.
Yeah. I mean, there's different ways you could pay people. You could pay them on the percentage of what they find, the value of it, or you could pay them by hour. I know a couple of resellers that do that. They have people go out and source for them at like outlet stores, Nike and Under Armour, that kind of stuff.
Nice. Nady Pie. Literally the one time I win something, I'm not there. I know, I was there to see that. It was unfortunate. But just think, you don't need all those extra calories. Wait another month. Hello, Rosie's Closet. How are you today? So, all right, let's get into it. Thanks, everybody, for coming. Share this out if you would. Grab a pen, pencil, and a piece of paper, because who knows, you might get some nuggets of wisdom here, especially at this time of the year. I've already started sending stuff to my accountant because I don't want to be late. I want to get everything done.
Right.
And I can remember, was it 2 years ago, I said, "Can we do everything now?" No, you have to send your 1099s out by the end of the month, not the beginning of the month. So I'm just one of those people that like to get everything done.
That's good to stay ahead of it, for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's better than the other way. Then you got to file an extension and all that other happy stuff. Right. So you are a licensed CPA or accountant, or can you tell us what the difference is between a CPA and an accountant?
Sure. So, sometimes they can be the same thing, but a CPA stands for Certified Public Accountant. Not certified profit accountant, even though, there's jokes about that. Another acronym people say that a CPA stands for couldn't pass again.
Nice.
Because it is a series of 4 very difficult tests that you have to pass within a certain window. So I am a licensed and active CPA, certified public accountant. I'm in Alabama. My license is here, but I mean, I can help people out on the internet if I choose to do that next year, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. But so an accountant could be somebody that does, bookkeeping, payroll. They keep track of payments for different companies. They keep track of accounts receivable, accounts payable, that kind of different stuff. It really just depends on if they're working for a company, organization, an agency, or maybe they have their own firm.
Okay.
So, an accountant could be somebody that does all of those things. So an accountant isn't necessarily a CPA, and a CPA doesn't necessarily have to be an accountant, but pretty much, we consider ourselves to be professionals, accountants, because we have that designation, and we have to most states require an ethics exam as well, in addition to the 4 tests. So, but even as a CPA, you could work in different industries. You could work for accounting, you could work for auditing. Companies hire CPAs to help them with their taxes, and some companies just have them on staff or on retainer to help them and keep them ahead on their books, like what you were talking about, or help them interpret different tax laws, because tax laws change every year, and they're thick and they're challenging, and they're not written so people can easily understand them either.
Right.
So there's plenty of different industries and fields that CPAs are useful or can work in. And basically what I told you when we were talking a little bit before the show was I work for a company, and I work 40 hours a week doing that. I'm licensed and I work for them. And then in my spare time, I sell stuff on Amazon, eBay. I do merch by Amazon. I design shirts, and I sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace. And I used to do Airbnb, but I don't do that anymore.
We just sold ours back in May.
Oh, okay.
Well, when the virus hit, we lost all our bookings, and still to this day, there are no international flights in Orlando. So they have to go to New York if they wanted to come in the country, then go to Orlando, and nobody wants to do that.
Yeah.
So and I don't know this, as an accountant, are you able to open up your own office, or do you have to work under somebody?
Well, I mean, you could be an accountant or a bookkeeper and just own your own business, own your own practice and stuff like that. But you can't put yourself out there as a CPA unless you actually have that designation and you're licensed and active by your state. Some people have a CPA license, but they're retired, so they're not technically active. So they can't sign their name with that designation.
Right. So it's like realtor and agent. An agent has to work under a broker, or a broker like myself. We just, do it ourselves.
Well, and it just kind of depends on like the structure of your business too. Like I have friends that own their own CPA practices, and there might be 1 or 2 CPAs that work there or own the business, and everyone under them is like a tax preparer or they're an accountant, and they do all the form filling and stuff like that. And then the actual CPA would be the one to do the final review and then do the final sign off, the final check, that kind of stuff.
Okay. So do you do your own taxes at the end of the year?
I do. Yes, I do. I do my own taxes. I do my family's taxes. Like I said, I have friends that own CPA firms. And then when I finally got my license, I said, yep, I don't need your help anymore. I'm good.
So as having this background, I guess it must, and we'll get into why you started reselling, but
Sure.
It must help you immensely in your reselling business. You must have, either you do it online or you must have an Excel sheet and maybe you don't, I don't know. Cause I don't have one. I just do it on paper or whatever, but I heard people say, well, I have the item, where I bought it, what it cost me, where I listed it, how much I got for it, minus their fees, minus the shipping,
Right.
and that's my profit.
Yeah.
You must have something like that.
Yeah, so I use my own type of Excel sheets, and I've heard other people using different programs like GoDaddy bookkeeping and stuff like that, and I've heard good things about that as well. I mean, or if you're like a professional business, you could use like QuickBooks, or QuickBooks has an online version as well.
That's right.
But for me, I just keep everything. I keep track of everything in my Excel sheets. Lately, I've been trying to do more sourcing type videos and then talking about exactly like what I paid for stuff and then the fees and all that kind of stuff. Cause I feel like people they focus too much on like the top number, like, oh, I'm going to sell like $1,000 worth of stuff. But they don't go into all of the fees and everything that goes into it. So, I mean, if you sell $1,000 worth of stuff, you're only making a couple $100 worth of profit, but that's not as catchy in the title. Right.
Exactly.
So So I mean, lately I've been more detailed with my videos and stuff like that because I'm trying to just show everybody and give them a complete picture of, hey, this is what it sold for. Here are the fees. Here's what I'm going to make, and to give people a more realistic idea that we're not all out here making thousands upon thousands of dollars, every day, every month, whatever.
Right. Now, let's say somebody wanted to develop their own form.
Sure.
You would give this form to your accountant probably quarterly, right? So you don't have to pay a big number at the end of the year.
Well, I would recommend trying to keep as much records as you can to stay on top of that kind of stuff. And I would suggest trying to do it monthly, at least, like at a minimum, to keep up with it. Because if you get, 6 months down the road and you're trying to keep track of, oh, what did I buy this pair of jeans for? What did I buy this stereo system for? And you don't remember, then you're going to have to fill it in, and it might not be 100% accurate.
Right. Okay.
So I would suggest trying to keep up on that stuff monthly if possible, or, even to the week or every couple weeks, but not everyone has the time or the patience for that, or the interest in spending time with spreadsheets.
Right. But I mean, if in all reality, I think it'll only help you at the end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So the time that you can invest in keeping that kind of stuff straight now, that will save you money when it comes tax time. Because just hypothetically, if you brought all of your paperwork to a CPA, more than likely they're going to charge you like per hour, right? So if they say, I'm going to charge you $75 an hour or $100 an hour or whatever, they're going to charge that flat rate, whether they are sorting your receipts, whether they're going through your expenses, or whether they're filling out your actual forms. But if you do all of that legwork ahead of time and they only have to spend an hour or two just filling out the forms, I mean, you've saved yourself a ton of money in the process.
Right. Exactly. And that's value right there. So if you were to do an Excel sheet today, you would put everything I mentioned. But what about the stuff that nobody talks about, like mileage, gas, time? Do you put that stuff in too? Do you figure that into your what's going to eventually come up as your profit and loss, I guess?
Well, you definitely, as far as like mileage and stuff like that. So there's like two ways to claim auto expenses when you're doing taxes. You can do your actual costs or your actual expenses, or you can do a mileage. Generally speaking, more often than not, it's going to, like, the mileage is going to be the better way to go.
Yeah, that's what mine does.
Right. So, I mean, like, I can't guarantee that, and not every situation is the same, but more likely than not, mileage is the way to go. And what you could do is, like, every time you do a trip, you could write down your mileage. You could keep it in a spreadsheet, or there are apps that you can use and download to keep track of that stuff for you, like MileIQ.
Yep, that's what I use. And I send an email the report to my accountant every month. That's the thing too. The reason I had to start telling my agents 3, 4, 5 years ago, listen, the IRS does not just take a guesstimate. You need to have the book, the little Staples book, the mileage, or you need to have MileIQ that goes off every time you start driving your car as actual proof. I thought MileIQ was a great idea.
Yeah, no, it is a great idea. And, it's kind of cool because I think after every trip, it asks you, was this personal or business? And then you can just log it that way. But from the way I understand, the way the IRS tax code is written is they want you to have some kind of logbook, and they don't specifically say it has to be this thing or that. So that's nice because that app falls within that category or that range.
Right. But then, like, I don't know, I would imagine by using an Excel sheet and then listing your sales all the time, I think people would have a better handle on their business, and they would be either, I don't know, happier if they see that number at the end that is really nice, instead of saying, oh, gee, I only made $1. Why?
Right. And it gives you that peace of mind to actually know whether your business is making money or not. And if you don't actually know if you're making any money, what is the point? Like, you don't have a full picture of how you're doing. And, there's so many benefits to keeping good records and keeping good track of all that kind of stuff, because you can identify, hey, these things are selling well, these other items are not selling well. I need to focus more on sourcing here, not sourcing here. And using those kind of programs can help you, or just keeping track of that stuff can really help you with your business.
Right. Exactly. And when I was doing it, well, I still do it. And hello, BMOS, thank you for coming in. And everybody, I'll encourage you to ask questions. I just wanted to get some stuff. Let's wait until like the halfway point for questions, if you don't mind. But thank you for coming in. Please share it out if you would. And I just forgot what I was going to say.
Okay.
I used to tell my wife, I said, hey, our best return on investment is everything we're getting at estate sales.
Okay.
And that used to be that way until I started going to local auctions.
Okay.
Now our best ROI is local auctions.
Now, real quick, do you buy stuff in like big lots, or do you buy like individual pieces? Just curious.
Yeah, no, I don't. I do buy, there's like one or two individual pieces. That tends to be the more expensive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, the way they sell them is kind of like box lots. So I'm buying for what I can see on the top.
Okay.
And like the other day, I bought a box, good size box, 2x2. And I wanted some Beatles stuff that was on the top. And I said, well, I could probably sell it for 50 to 75. So I'll bid $25. I'll bid halfway point. So at least I can make some money.
Right.
On the bottom of the box was all original Masters of the Universe He-Man stuff.
Nice.
While I was doing the video, I sold one. 15 more minutes into the video, I sold another, which totally put me into profit.
Right.
So I didn't sell the Beatles stuff. I just added them to my collection.
Yeah, that's the dangerous part about being a collector and buying stuff all the time, is that stuff just doesn't leave. It doesn't go anywhere.
That is the problem. Rosie said, I use GoDaddy bookkeeping. I can integrate PayPal, eBay, Amazon, and my mileage so easy. Yeah, I use QuickBooks Online.
Mm-hmm.
And I had two accounts, one for my Airbnb and one for my business.
Yeah.
But all right. So I guess I don't want to bore everybody with numbers and figures and stuff, although everybody that usually comes into my chats is a reseller, and which means you're a business person. And as you know, every good business person should know their numbers.
Right.
So did you get into reselling because you were so bored with the numbers?
No. I mean, the numbers are the sexy part of it. What are you talking about? I mean, I used to read a blog that kind of got me interested in like financial independence and stuff. And the blogs, he's still out there, but the blog's name was Budgets Are Sexy.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed this guy's style writing and stuff like that. But he was always like very positive about numbers. Like, hey, you should be really into numbers, and you should know where your finances are going and all this kind of stuff. But I don't read it so much anymore. But I always try to keep that perspective, is that it's interesting to some people.
Right, but with numbers, with what you're doing as an accountant, you're crunching numbers for people or yourself or whatever. Whereas in reselling, there's that thrill of the hunt.
Right.
You're buying this piece for $1, and now you're going to sell it for $20.
Right.
But it's finding that one piece at a garage sale or an estate sale. It's the thrill of the hunt. I don't think you'll get anything like that with the accountant side of the business.
Well, I'm sure people find intrinsic value in doing some of the accounting stuff, but I agree. I agree that people would get into the reselling stuff for the fun of it, or to make extra money, or to pay off bills or whatever. And everybody has their own reason, and that's great. I just want to encourage people to take a realistic view of, what's your time worth? What are you spending it on? Are you getting the best return? Make sure you're spending the time on the right things that you could be doing, or you want to be more efficient. But to answer your question, that was a long-winded answer to your question, but I actually got into reselling when I was younger. My dad got me into it. He had a furniture store, and we would go to garage sales and auctions and stuff like that. And he got me into it. And so I got into it while I was younger, and kind of took a break for a while. And I got my bachelor's degree in finance. And after that, I started working for an auction company.
Nice.
Yeah, it was an online auction company. Think of basically like an eBay type deal where we'd take pictures of the items and people would bid on stuff locally, and then when it sold, people would come to pick it up. And like, we just didn't do shipping; people would just come pick it up there.
Yeah, like high bid.
Yeah, something like that. So I worked for this company for about 2 years, and finished with that. And then I came to Alabama, and I decided to go back to school because that's just what you do when you want some new challenge in life, I guess.
Right.
And then I was working on my master's degree, which I have a master's in accounting. And then I got this job where I'm at. Actually, I started at a job, and then I changed about 6 months ago. But I decided to get into reselling to make some extra money. And I was reading stuff online. I was Googling and looking on YouTube for ways to make extra money. And I heard about FBA, and I read about it. And I watched a ton of videos, and I started getting into it, and that's where it's what I've been doing ever since.
Very cool. So Amazon FBA, Amazon FBM, some, right?
Yep.
eBay?
Yep.
Mercari?
I have a Mercari account. I'm not very good with it, or I don't use it too often. I do have a Poshmark account. I've got a few things on there.
Facebook Marketplace?
Yes, I'm pretty heavy on Facebook Marketplace. I sell quite a bit on there. So,
do you do Facebook Marketplace?
Craigslist? I don't do Craigslist.
Okay. Do you have a booth at an antique mall or a flea market?
I don't, but I've actually been thinking about that, just because I have accumulated a lot of media lately. Like, I have hundreds of movies and hundreds of CDs, and I just bought a couple hundred records yesterday. And it's just selling them online is not quick enough. So I was actually thinking about starting up a booth just for that kind of stuff.
Wow. I've been seeing, and I don't know what it is. It seems like in the last 6 months, there's been a lot of people dumping DVDs and CDs. I don't know. Did they announce a new format coming? Because I remember when VHS was big, and they said, "Oh no, we're going to come out with DVDs."
Right.
And then Blu-ray, and all of a sudden everybody was dumping the VHS and stuff. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no new format that I'm aware of, but I'm actually surprised. I've been pleasantly surprised lately at how much some DVDs can sell for, and want to kind of give a tip for the people watching. But if you're interested in selling media or DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever, look for stuff that's not on any streaming platform, and you can find some DVDs that are worth a lot of money.
There's one I know in particular because I used to have a video rental store.
Okay.
Midnight Marquee by MGM, mostly all horror movies. Sometimes they're even double features. A lot of money.
Yeah,
because they're old horror movies that you just can't get anymore.
Yep.
Horror seems to be the king of DVDs. Making money on DVDs would you should have a lot of horror in your assortment, I guess you would call it.
Right. Yeah. Your catalog.
So you're out sourcing all the time?
Yeah.
After your 40 hours, your regular gig, I guess.
Yeah, so I do my 40-hour a week job, which I'm pretty fortunate. I'm pretty blessed that I can work from home doing that right now. Like, I started this new job, and they were like, "You're working from home." I was like, "Got it, no problem." I mean, oh shucks, I have to sit in my office and be on one computer and check my other computer. I mean, it's real torture.
Right. But now, what is it? Your busy time for that is going to come up in the next few months, right?
The place that I work for, it's about the same level at all times.
Oh,
Um, So, and that's just the nature of the business that I'm in. But kind of what we're talking about is like tax season. If I decide to do tax prep, which I'm kind of thinking about doing this upcoming tax season, then I would be super busy doing that stuff. Which I've had a lot of people ask me about it. I've had friends and family ask me about it, and because most people don't enjoy doing the numbers,
right.
and I would like to, I would like to help friends and family out and make extra money and do all that kind of stuff. It's just, we'll see how it shakes out. But
Let's get back to the accounting just for another question.
sure.
Is there anything particular being a reseller should do for the accounting side of their business? Or is there anything particular a reseller should concentrate on for tax season or tax preparation?
Well, I always suggest everybody to keep good records. Try to update those records monthly as far as like what you're spending, what your expenses are, and all that kind of stuff, because you don't want to miss a big purchase, or you don't want to miss your expenses that you've had. And then when tax season comes around, you have to try to think of a whole year's worth of expenses in mileage, and every trip that you made. You're going to miss stuff, and it's definitely worth the time and the energy to put a little effort into keeping good records now, because that's going to pay off next year.
And do we have to, because it was very difficult for me to explain to my accountant that no, eBay pays the sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
Is there an easy way to deal with that, or is it just, do you just put that under part of your fees?
Well, unfortunately, every state doesn't have the exact same tax laws, so not everything is uniform in that sense. Some states are marketplace facilitators. So, like, for example, like where I live, Alabama collects and remits sales tax from eBay and Amazon. Like Amazon and eBay, when I sell stuff here, they collect the sales tax and they pay it for me.
Okay.
It wasn't always the case.
Right.
Some states aren't like that. Eventually, in my professional opinion, every state will get there, because they're losing out on a ton of tax revenue if they're not collecting it. So it would be important for you to know, and the viewers to know, like what state you're in, look into their tax laws to see if it's a marketplace facilitator state, and if Amazon and eBay or whatever platform you're selling on, if they already collect your sales tax.
Yeah, I know here in Florida they do.
Right. So more and more states are moving towards that, and eventually I believe every state will be like that. But you need to know whether your state does it or not, because ignorance isn't a defense, right?
Right.
So if you're selling like $100,000 worth of stuff and you don't collect any sales tax, and at the end of the year, you find out you were supposed to be collecting it, well, you're not going to be able to go back to those customers and say, hey, I need 6% on this or 9% on this. I mean, people are just going to ignore you.
Right. Exactly. BMOS is asking, is there something different I should do as a maker versus a reseller? And I can relate to that, because I used to manufacture my own model kits, where we would hire a sculptor to say, listen, I need this, I want this piece sculpted, and we would pay them whatever the fee was, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000.
Right.
And then we would cast it and sell the kits, make the box art and everything. So, man, you have the sculptor fee, the advertising fee, the box and the box art, the resin, the mold making material, your hours, and all that stuff. So I guess it's just a different form of what your
business model is.
Yeah.
So,
but BMOS makes her own stuff also. I don't think she uses a sculptor though, but she makes things for your desk and things like that.
Yeah. So I would definitely keep track of my hours, my time, if I'm designing products or making products, or what your cost of goods, what it sells for, what you've got into it. All of these things are going to be important as far as keeping track of, trying to figure out what whatever, all of your costs in your business versus, what your actual profit's going to be. As resellers, we generally don't really make anything, right? But we have our own separate expenses and costs and stuff to look for and to keep track of. But yeah, I'm kind of curious. What do they make? I've seen them in the chats before. I just didn't know.
She makes the last thing I saw was something to hold your pens in. Mm-hmm. and stuff like that. But I mean, when I was casting models, I knew exactly how much a pound of rubber would cost me. Mm-hmm. And because it not only you buy a kit, but sometimes you run out of part A or part B, so you need another part from another kit. So
yeah,
it's like I had it down to the cost per ounce. Making molds sucks though too. I mean, I think all she's doing is what we call flat pours. So it's like this is the mold and you're just pouring the resin in until it makes it on the top. We're doing things like this. Mm-hmm. Hey, we're doing pieces like 3-dimensional. So we have a mold half and then we had to pour from the bottom. I still have my vacuum machine. You got to vacuum it to take all the air bubbles out so they keep everything nice. She says, I hire mold makers for certain products, but not a sculptor. I still have friends in the business if you need sculptors. They work on movies now. Beam, I'll have to get you on the show sometime and talk about what you do. I love it myself. I would still do it today. I could still cast today.
Yeah.
So you're into reselling,
mm-hmm.
and you're not going to give up being a CPA, an accountant.
No, absolutely not. I spent too many hours studying and taking my tests and too much energy and all that stuff. It was more like, when I was getting my master's degree, one of my professors, well, several of them, they kind of pounded it into our heads that, once you get this or once you have it, you keep up the CPEs, you can have it for the rest of your life. And, it can provide benefits in the future. If I decide to leave my job, I'm sure I could find a job somewhere else, or I could start my own firm, different stuff like that. Mostly it's just providing me with options.
Right. It's just like being a real estate broker. I just renewed my license the other day.
Right.
They said, don't give it up because then you're going to take the test all over again. And man, that was 2 weeks, day and night, mm-hmm. of like brain, I passed it. I never want to pass it again. Right. Yes, BMOS. Yes, Wednesday, definitely. So you look at this, like I tell everybody, extra streams of income.
Yeah.
I am a firm believer of multi-streams of income.
Yeah, absolutely. Nowadays it's more of a necessity than an option.
Right.
Because one of them can just be cut off like that. Like I was doing Airbnb. I had an extra room set up. I was renting it out as much as I wanted to. Then, all this stuff happened and I was like done. Like I shut it down, haven't turned it on since, and I have no plans to, but I still have enough other side businesses. I'm fine.
Right. Does multi-stream, and I'm sorry if I'm asking some obscure questions or whatever, but I always promote to people that, hey, you should always have multi-streams of income. Does having multi-streams of income make a tax nightmare for a preparer?
I don't think so. Honestly, I think that the benefits outweigh the potential cons as far as having multiple streams of income, because I try to write off as much as I can in my life in using my businesses. I mean, that's what people that own businesses do. They try to write off as many expenses as they can legally and all that kind of stuff. But, the more businesses you have, the more things you can be like, oh, well, I need this for my business. I need this, I need that. And that's why it's important to keep good records, like using my home office for my business. I can write off part of my home office deduction, my internet, different things that I need for my office, different things I need for the space. I try to make my life as tax deductible as possible,
right. But now let me stop you there for a second, because
Sure.
we did that one year when we sold our house in Massachusetts to move to Florida. My wife did daycare. I ended up selling my business and my eBay account at this comic shop,
Okay.
and I was doing online sales from the house, and I became a manager at Walmart, actually.
Okay.
When we sold the house, we had to recoup all those deductions of which part of the house did she do daycare, what room or whatever, how much did you do for your business.
Hmm.
Wouldn't you have to do the same thing if you were selling your house and you'd already taken, like I'm taxing off this room, I'm taxing off that or whatever?
You said this was recently, or this was a few years ago? When
Oh,
was
this was
this?
now 17 years ago.
Okay. I was gonna say, I'm not super familiar with that. That sounds like some sort of recapture of depreciation, which,
Recapture depreciation. Yep, it's actually exactly what they said.
yeah, that's what it sounds like. I am not concerned about that as far as using my own home and then writing off part of my home office as a deduction. Um, I don't know if that's still a prevalent thing. I would have to look into it, but I'm not 100% on top of my head.
Okay. Yeah,
So,
it hurt us a little bit, not a lot,
mhm.
because at that time we were there 18 years, I think, and the price of the home went up greatly. But I was wondering if that's still a thing that, do you have, if you deduct a whole room in your house for your eBay room,
Mhm.
do you have to recapture that if you sell the property or move or whatever it is, whatever the case be?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. I'm not concerned about it in my situation. I'd have to look into it a little bit more, but I'm not too concerned about it personally.
Okay. So what other avenues of reselling are you doing, other than the five that we mentioned, which is a lot?
Yeah. Other than the slew of ones that I'm already doing, I keep mostly busy with my Amazon and eBay stuff. I've been trying to do more videos for YouTube, just kind of talking about different reselling stuff, and I'm gonna try to do more how tos because I've made a few how tos videos and those seem to do pretty well. And I'm trying to give people a full picture of what all the fees and all the stuff that go into it, because some people are just inflating their numbers and just giving a dishonest portrayal of what it actually means to be reselling and how much money they're actually making.
Right.
So I mean, I do Amazon, I do eBay, Facebook Marketplace. I do merch by Amazon. I design T-shirts for merch by Amazon,
Oh, you
and
do?
I've done that for a little while. I'm in tier 1,000, meaning I have 1,000 slots that I can upload to Amazon, and I think I have like 800 open, meaning I've only got 200 shirts up there right now. But that's not like a main focus for me right now.
Holy crap. I don't have merch by Amazon. I'm doing Teespring,
Hmm.
and I have 3 designs.
Okay.
And I think Crystal, who's in here, Rosie's Closet, I think she must have 20, 30 pieces. Are
Okay.
you doing like funny accountant sayings and stuff like that?
Well, that's kind of how I started was I was coming up with silly jokes and stuff like that, but I like stuff that's evergreen, and that's stuff that's going to sell like year round.
Yep.
And what I like to do is like I'll make one really good design, and then I'll think of like 20 different ways I can have a variation of it.
Okay.
So like I'll come up with like a funny saying or something, and then I'll just change one or two words and I'll make 20 different versions of that. And sometimes they hit and they do well, and other times, they don't. But that's the benefit of making a really good design, is that you can just make a couple small tweaks and then you can just upload it a whole bunch of different ways.
And are you designing these yourself?
Yes, I use apps on my phone, and they're free apps that you can use. You can use like Canva, and different stuff like that, totally free. And you just make sure it's the right format. And I would upload them from my phone and then finish it on the computer. Or I used to just upload and do everything on my phone because I used to travel a lot, and I would just make shirts while I was sitting at the airport and then just upload them and then just go about my day.
My God, how long did it? Let's just take one design. How long did it take you, or would it take you to do one design?
It just depends. Like if you're just doing like a text only, then it's more of like there's more time going into the research because you have to follow current trends. You have to make sure there's nobody else already on that. You have to make sure something's not trademarked. But for like a simple design, you could do 1.5 hours or so. If it's like detailed with like art and stuff like that, it takes a lot longer.
I want to show you something because I have it right here.
Sure.
This is my latest one.
Okay.
That I did, only because so many people say it, and even Dolly and I do a Friday auction thing together,
Mm-hmm.
and I told Dolly, I says, I don't know, I piss people off so easy. I just say what I feel, and she says, oh, no filter anymore. I says, I'm probably at that age. The filter
Right.
is totally gone. After people telling me that, I designed this.
Nice.
Do you know how long this cost me? How long this took me to design?
I don't know, couple hours.
Almost 5 hours. I use Corel.
Okay.
So, man, if I could have did that, something like that in a half hour, no wonder you have like 200 slots.
Right. Well, that's the thing is like I would do more of a scattershot type method. Like I would make one design and then I do 20 variations and I would just upload all 20.
It took
And
me an hour just to do the thumbnail for the show. I'm one of those people like, all right, no, it's just off a little to the left. That's the way I get, and I can't get over that. I just can't get over. But Rosie's Closet's in here. She said she uses Canva.
mm-hmm.
I love her. She's got that Rosie the Riveter
Mm-hmm.
design that she uses. And yeah, and now it's not just a matter of putting the shirt up there.
Right.
You have to market it, right?
Right. You have to, pick the right keywords. You have to make sure that the phrases aren't trademarked. You have to do some research. Part of the problem with merch by Amazon is that there's so many like copycats and they will just straight up like take your design and slightly tweak it. And it's almost like you have to be first to market with a good idea or like a good saying or good artwork or something. And then you just have to defend kind of like your trademark or whatever.
But you don't trademark your stuff, right?
No, I don't. A couple of my shirts did well for me. Like I've sold hundreds of them, but it turned into like a meme, which was kind of funny. And now there are like hundreds of copycats, which is pretty neat. But I was like, I always hold that, and it still sells, which is kind of funny. And it's just basic text. I just made up a silly saying about video games, and like it sold hundreds of times, and I've made hundreds of dollars off of just one idea.
Wow, that is fantastic.
So
like I'm the same thing. I'm like Rosie. I'm using Teespring.
Mm-hmm.
2 designs. This is my third. 2 designs that I did. One was a face mask, and one was a T-shirt. A T-shirt that says "Just a Kid from Somerville," and it has pictures. It has the when you go into a town, it has the big like welcome to.
Sure.
So that's in the middle, and then all these places that used to be there, like the high school, they just tore the high school down. So I have a picture of the high school, all these restaurants and places, and I just put it on my high school page, and people bought it. I knew a friend of mine from back home had his license plate, Massachusetts, and it says the Ville.
Okay.
So I said, "Just a kid from," and it shows a license plate. So I put it on the page and must have sold like 5 or 6 of them right away within the first hour.
Nice.
But I can't imagine doing, I don't know, I sell toys and I open my toys or something like that, which I've seen.
Sure.
Because that's kind of generic, I guess, and you have to market it. You have to pay some money, I guess, to get some ads out there, right?
It just depends. Like there's different ways to market that you can do it for free. Like you said, you could make a shirt and put it on Facebook. You could put it on Instagram. And that's one thing too, is you could just build an Instagram page just for t-shirts, and you could just upload your t-shirts, and then people start following you because you have silly or cool t-shirts or whatever. And you can reach out to people that have lots of channels or lots of subscribers or whatever, and be like, hey, I'll send you a free t-shirt or whatever. And you got to make sure it's within that niche, or that they're actually going to want it or whatever. And then people wear it, and then you share your link and all that. I mean, there's tons of like ways to market it.
Wow.
So
that's like being, now you're also a YouTube content creator.
yes, I don't know if a content creator is the right word. I'm more of a novice or a noob, but I'm trying to get better. So how about that?
Yeah, but still, once you get into it, like I'm into it for, well, as much as I can right now.
Uh-huh.
And just marketing your YouTube channel is a full-time job.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much work went into it before I started doing it. And then I started making videos, and I watched my video, and then I'll watch somebody else's, and I'm like, man, I can't, like, they have cool angles, and they have cool transitions and sound effects and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, man, this takes a lot of effort.
Yep. Well, it's not just that, but it's marketing it and getting people into the channel and oh my God.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's like I said, it's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Bimo said earlier she was told I couldn't write off anything in my home because I don't have a dedicated room. I have an alcove in my loft bedroom. Am I correct about not being able to write off part of my apartment?
Okay.
That might be too specific of a question.
Yeah. So unfortunately, because I am a licensed CPA, I'm not going to be able to give specific advice. I can kind of talk in generalities. And that's just because you're not a client, and I don't know who else is going to watch this and might take something from it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's like giving legal advice.
Right. So that's part of it. But what I would do is I would just kind of look into the rules surrounding taking a home office deduction and stuff like that. And basically what it is to take a home office deduction, you have to use that space just for your home office. It's not supposed to be a multi-purpose room or serving other purposes, if that makes sense.
Hello, Bargain Effect. How are you? Thanks for coming in. Have you developed an Excel spreadsheet for resellers that you offer, that you put out there, that you sell?
I haven't. I guess, that would be something that I could provide to the community. I have seen a few people that do that kind of stuff. And I don't, I guess I don't really know how much of a need there is for it. So this is really the first time anyone's brought it up. Do you think that'd be something beneficial people would use?
Yep, absolutely. And coming from an accountant, who better? I mean, as long as you're like, I am not good with formulas on Excel. You know, some people have it down. Oh, no, cost is 2.5%. So you make that column take off the 2.5%. And this is that. It's like, okay, damn it. Just do it for me.
Right. Yeah. The better part of my day is spending time with Excel sheets.
I can imagine. I don't know, everybody in the chat, you're all, for the 99% of you in here, I'm sure you're all resellers. Would you pay a fee for an Excel spreadsheet that would make your record keeping for your inventory? Would you be interested in something like that if it was made available to you? Because I know I, for one, would.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, like, now this GoDaddy bookkeeping.
Right.
Does it do, like, I can put in, all right, the Wolverine action figure cost $3, listing it on eBay, blah, blah, blah. Does it do that, or does it just do generic, like, eBay, fees, sales?
Yeah, so I don't use QuickBooks Online. The way I understand it, it's more of like generic stuff, like your sales, your cost of goods sold, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it imports from eBay and then you can like fill out fees and cost of goods sold. I haven't used it, so I can't speak from experience.
Okay.
So
I definitely, if you ever made something like that and put it out there to the reselling community, I would definitely be into it. What's the average? Yes, that's what I thought. I understand that's just general. What is the average reasonable cost to have an accountant? I would imagine that would depend on how much work is involved in your taxes, right?
sure, what's your definition of reasonable?
Right.
What
I mean,
how big is your company? How much money do you make? How many employees do you have? What's the scale? What's the size of your operation?
yep. I had my when I had my real I sold my real estate office. I had a real estate office with 20 agents under me. So I had the office and that. I was renting that space. I had my rental home. I had my personal home. And I mean, that year, just to prepare the taxes was $1,200.
Mhm.
And I was still giving them everything quarterly. Um, so it all depends on how much now this year I don't have even last year I don't have the office. This year I sold my Airbnb rental home.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a hell of a lot less.
Yeah. And just to answer that, I'll give you an accountant's favorite answer. It depends. It depends on your situation. No, seriously, I mean, like that's
Yeah.
the best answer we can give, is because I can't give you a solid answer without knowing everything about your operation.
Right. Yeah, it's how good are you with your paperwork and stuff. I became, after the first year and stuff, what are you doing? You're crazy. You got to start doing this. You got to start doing that. Go to QuickBooks Live online. And he was able to log in. And he would tell me, okay, it's time to balance your checkbook and stuff. It's like, balance my checkbook? So after a while, it's like you start hearing the big business people say, you're not a good business person if you don't know your numbers. And man, did I learn my numbers quick. My profit and loss and stuff like that. Everything.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it to have a full picture of what you're actually doing and where you can focus your energy and where you need to improve. I mean, there's countless benefits to it.
Yep. Rosie's Closet said it pulls your sales from eBay. Yes, it imports from multiple platforms. But Rosie, my question is, does it pull like this? Like, okay, I bought this for $5 or $1. I bought it at a Goodwill. I listed it on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
I listed it at this price. It sold for this price. Minus the fees, minus shipping. This is my net profit. That's what I'm concerned about. I don't care about just pulling sales. I want actual numbers. I want to know that, was this a good buy? And if that's the case, now I want to go look for more.
Yeah.
And maybe that's too much to ask. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Rosie can clue us in, because I'm not super familiar with it.
I have to be careful with how much I make because of my disability. I would probably be interested in something like that. So a form you're talking.
Oh, maybe when you were talking about the Excel sheet for
Right.
like tracking profit and loss, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I have to talk to an attorney about disability myself. And I can't believe we're in an age where you got to talk to an attorney to file to go on disability.
Yeah, and from what I understand, like that is a long process in itself. And the research that I've done, like not for me, but for a family member that went through that, like it's basically like you expect to get denied a certain amount of times before they actually accept you, which seems just so backwards. But
that's what they said. It's 6 months to a year. And then that's the reason you need an attorney, because they said, you're going to file it. It's going to get denied right away. Right. We're going to file it the right way. And it probably might still get denied. And then we got to do it again.
Right.
And then it's gonna be all back pay, and we get 33% of that.
Well, it's good they've got it all figured out.
Oh, it took you 4 years. Damn.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, that's painful. I'm sorry. Well, at least you got it though, right?
Yeah.
At least it went through.
So what's coming up for your reseller future? Oh, let me just say one thing.
Sure.
I heard you this morning. You bought Legos at Walmart.
Mhm.
Secret clearance.
Yes.
You know it's not secret clearance.
It's not. What are you talking about? It's not a secret.
I heard this so much.
I don't know if I believe that, Paul. What are you trying to say?
No, because I used to be management with Walmart.
Okay.
All it is home office in where you are in the lower part of the state there. They send out the clearance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now in the morning, the department manager gets the notes. All right, all these things went on clearance in my department. Now they have to go to the department and mark everything down. A lot of times they don't have the employees to help them do that. Or that department manager is pulled to another department. So they don't get to mark it down. That's why everybody's told, use the Walmart app.
Mm-hmm.
I have a video that my last score at Walmart was Legos at 3 cents a piece.
Nice. That's awesome. I haven't seen them that cheap, but that's nice.
They didn't want to sell them to me. And I told them, I said, oh, it's too bad because you already did. What do you mean? I went through the self-checkout.
Nice.
And here it is. They all scanned at 3 cents a piece.
Right.
But yeah, that's all it is. It's just the department did not take the markdown yet.
Right. Well, in a sense that how I'm viewing it, my perspective is like if I'm going into the store and they don't have the prices marked correctly, then that's not really like public knowledge unless you know how to go through and scan with the app. So that's why, secret clearance, hidden clearance, like those are kind of buzzwords. But I just posted this video a few days ago, not really expecting much. Like I put some more time into it to try to do better transitions and all that kind of stuff. But it's the keywords that are kind of propelling it a little bit better. And a lot of people search for like Walmart clearance, Lego haul, like these certain buzzwords are catching. So I'm like, all right, well, I've been doing a lot of this stuff recently, actually, but I'm selling all of this stuff before I post the video, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like everything that I'm showing in these videos that I probably have 5 or 6 that I could post over the next month, I'm going to post them gradually and not one after the other. And maybe I'll mix it up and do some to-do like how-tos or whatever. But I'm not just going to want to mix it up, have a little variety.
So are you using BrickSeek?
I have used BrickSeek, and that's just like the free version.
Yeah.
I know there's like paid versions and stuff like that. So I'm not sure if that's beneficial or like worth it. But you learn, like if you go to one store and you see like 10 items are on sale, there's a good chance some of them might be on sale at the next store too.
Right. Well, on the app, it'll tell you. You just go to, and it shows you local stores and how much they're selling them for.
Mm-hmm.
But hello, Lisa C. Thanks for coming in. Hi, Kathy's Corner. How are you doing today? Rosie's Closet said you can add expenses individually, like cost of goods, import your sales, but it won't link your cost to the sale. I don't track like that. I use total cost of goods. Rhonda, have a great night. I'll have to run. Rhonda's always leaving me. Hello, Carol. Hello, Flippin' Frozen. Yes, I see you. I told you Google got it fixed over the weekend. Took a week? Yeah, Google support was decent. Been having problems, people not being able to log into my channel or blocked, and they think, hey, you're blocking me. Why? Nope. Not me.
They said secret clearance, and you're like, we don't play with that here.
Right. So what's your upcoming future now for your multi streams of income? Are you planning any others that maybe you want to let us in on? Like you're going to go into non-sports cards, Pokemon cards?
I wish I had my Pokemon cards from when I was young. I mean, those would be worth a lot of money right now, but just like anything else, I think that's a bubble that's going to pop eventually. So if you're into it, I would sell them now while you can. I used to play Magic, so I know quite a bit about Magic cards, but you don't see them too often in the wild out there. So I don't know. I think I'm just gonna try to focus my energy on having a good Q4. Things are starting to pick up. I've been selling more stuff. Trying to stay caught up with all these things that I'm buying, just because I'm just getting piles of stuff everywhere. And when you're a one-person operation, just to do everything, just keeps you pretty busy.
Oh yeah, it does. It definitely does.
But just gonna try to go pretty hard on Amazon and eBay for Q4, and maybe when the dust settles, beginning of next year, I'll do tax prep services and just go from there.
So will you offer like specialized services for e-com businesses?
Yeah, I mean, I like I did last year, I'll probably offer it to friends and family and stuff like that. And then if I do decide to like offer my services to the general public and mostly like the reseller niche, I'll have to do some marketing and get my name out there and all that kind of stuff. Which I'm totally cool with. Like I said, I'm licensed and all that stuff, so I'm not too worried about that. It's more like I don't know how much of a need there is for that.
I would think there would be. I personally think there would, because you could speak the lingo. You can relate to people. No, I sell on eBay. Well, what is your cost and what are your expenses? And
right,
you're there 99% more than another just down the street accountant.
Right. Yeah, there are a lot of people that don't fully understand e-commerce, and there are a lot of older CPAs. They may not be super familiar with it, and I'm here to help. So I try to give as much free information as I can. But like I said, maybe next year I'll do some tax prep stuff. So we'll see. It just depends on how busy I am and if I can fit everything into the schedule.
That's cool. So how many hours are you working out between your accountant 40 hours and your reselling and your sourcing? Time to sleep.
I mean, it all blends together. I try to multitask as much as I can. Like if I'm peeling stickers, I'm watching Netflix, or I'm listening to YouTube, or I'm doing other things. So, I mean, it all kind of blends together. The only time it doesn't blend together, Paul, is when I'm working my 40 hours a week job. I am not doing Amazon or eBay stuff.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, you need to do that's the numbers only time right there.
Yep.
Or when you're watching The Mandalorian. Nothing else. Just The Mandalorian.
Right. Yeah. No, I stay pretty busy, but I mean, it's not always work. I enjoy sourcing. I enjoy garage sales and estate sales and, going to 12 Walmarts in a single night. Like that's fun for me. So it's not always work. It's fun too.
It's the thrill of the hunt.
It is, just like you were saying.
Yep, the thrill of the hunt. That's what everybody gets into, is that, oh, I found this for $1 and I know I can get $10 for it.
Right.
So after expenses, I'm still making $7 or $8, and that's great.
Right.
Now, if I can find 100 of them, that would be fantastic.
Right, exactly. Like, like I found some games that were on clearance. So, I just bought a whole stack of them, and then I went to a couple more stores and looked for them. But I'm going to give myself a challenge. I actually just started doing a $10 challenge just for fun. I started with $10, and I'm keeping track of everything that I buy and everything that I sell to try to build up and see how much money I can turn it into, just for another challenge, just for fun.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah.
So you start with a $10 bill, say, all right, I'm going to spend this and see how much money I can make on it.
Right.
So yeah. 20, then you spend that for more product, and then you just keep rolling it over.
Right. And it's limiting because you have a small amount that you're starting with, and you have to sell what you bought to reinvest and to keep going. So it's like, I can't, until I get some money going, I can't really be doing it all the time. So now I spent my $10. I have 72 cents. I'm waiting for these movies and games to sell that I just recently bought. So we'll see what happens.
So now you're at Walmart at the clearance aisle or whatever, and you're just using the Amazon seller app saying, okay, this is this. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I found some 3-cent video games over the weekend, which is kind of funny.
Yep.
And those weren't on BrickSeek. It was just like a whole end cap full of clearance games. And I spent 20 minutes and I bought all the 3-cent and the $4 video games that weren't marked. So
well, those are all on the original clearance tag should have a date on it.
Yeah.
So you look for the earliest date, which means because you typically at Walmart, they're supposed to take a reduction every week, 7 to 10 days. So if that date is earlier than 7 or 10 days, they missed a markdown on it.
Okay.
So you scan it and say, oh, this is one. Yeah, great. Fantastic.
Okay. That's a good thing to know. I didn't know that you could look at the dates and, kind of know that.
Look at the Walmart clearance sticker and there'll be a date on it or when they took that markdown.
Okay.
And then if it's earlier than a week to 10 days, that means they missed a markdown.
Gotcha.
So it'll be marked down even more than what's priced on that sticker.
I didn't know that, but now I have something else to look for. Thank you.
So any last thoughts or anything for the reselling community?
Well, I mean, we're coming into Q4. Things are going to get busy. I hope everyone's safe out there, and take care of yourself, protect yourself and your family when you're out there, and don't get don't put yourself in a situation or whatever. I think honestly, I think there's a lot of stuff out there that I think there's enough for everybody to go around. That's why I don't mind sharing information or tips or whatever. It's, I think anyone can start reselling, making extra money. If you have different goals, paying a bill, paying off a student loan, saving money for college or whatever. I mean, anyone can get started, and it doesn't take much money to get started. You could start with nothing and just pick up stuff on the side of the road and make extra money.
Or stuff that you don't need in your house.
Yeah, absolutely. You could start by just going to your bookshelf and scanning what books or what movies you don't watch or read and seeing what's worth it. And you could just sell them on Facebook Marketplace for 0% fees. I think anyone can get started in this. It just takes the energy, and you have to learn what to look for. So you just got to put time into it, and anyone can be successful at it. It just depends on, how much effort and time you're willing to dedicate to it.
Exactly. It used to be that people would do it for a car payment, to help with a car payment, for vacation money, for fun money. But these days, some people need to do it to pay the bills.
Yeah.
We're in that era now where the world is crazy.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. If like I'm in a few Facebook Amazon groups, and people have talked about how they lost their job due to what's going on, but then they got really heavy into Amazon or eBay, and they're making a good living now. And it's very possible. There's tons of free information out there. People give out great tips and advice. And I mean, you could spend so much time learning all of this, but at some point you just have to, start doing it. And you even if you fail, you can take something from it. You can learn and just keep going.
Right. Exactly.
So
I hope everybody in here got something out of this, got some good information, got some information they can use for their business to help, because that's what we do. We try to give out good information.
Yeah.
Other than me doing online auctions and online sales, I do like to try to make the channel informative. So keeping the business theme for this week, tomorrow we have insurance, because there's a lot of people that don't know they should probably have insurance for their reselling business.
Right.
Which is an expense that's tax deductible, right?
Yep.
So that'll be tomorrow at 4:00, and then Wednesday will be our swap meet, where anybody can come in and sell I just asked that if you be in the chat, if you want to do it, just be in the chat early. I'll usually perk in there 3:30, quarter of minimum, so the people will get in there nice and early. We talk a little in the back, fast paced. Mm-hmm. But now because so many people wanted it, it's 2 hours, 4 to 6. So if you want to do it, just come in. Once again, thank you everybody for coming in. Thank you, Justin, for coming in and giving us your advice and your opinions. And your we'd like to follow up on that $10 challenge. I'd like to see how far you get with it. And didn't they have a show about bartering, that they bought something cheap and then they kept going up and up and up and up?
Yeah. There's shows about that. There's some different good YouTube videos that do that kind of stuff, and some of them are like focused on like video games. Other ones are focused on like clothing, reselling, and stuff like that. So I guess it just depends. I mean, everyone has their own like spin on it, right? But I just want to do something fun and different for me, so I'm going to do that. Hopefully, people enjoy it.
You're video documenting this?
Yeah. I've got my first episode pretty much all recorded. I just need to edit it, and I just sold something for $10, which is great because now I have more money to go spend. Nice,
cool, very, very good, very good.
But thank you for having me on the channel. I appreciate it. I'm glad we were finally able to connect.
Yes, no, thank you very, very much for coming on. So with that, everybody, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for coming in, and have a great night.